Hi everyone, Laurie Hall from MB+M with you today on the 1st of November. Who can actually believe that? Here we are. Hope everybody's coping okay and staying safe out there now that everything's opening up more. I just wanted to bring you an update on a few things. You might have heard lots of these terms being thrown around a lot, or emails coming through, and you're not quite sure what it all means for you. I'm just going to touch on these things briefly today, and then we'll bring you more detailed updates on processing and implementation as the time gets closer. But just for today, it's just an overview of these three things you can see on the screen there. We're going to be talking about e-invoicing, single touch payroll phase 2, and superannuation stapling. So again, there's been lots of communication happening, coming through emails. You might have heard it on the radio or even on the news that these things are coming your way to businesses. So let's start by looking at e-invoicing. You might have heard the term a bit lately, and more people are taking it up and registering and getting into it. So what is e-invoicing? As the name suggests, it's electronic invoicing. So rather than sending an invoice in the post or even attaching an invoice to an email, e-invoicing is something that you register for. It is attached to your business's ABN, and when you send or receive an invoice, it directs the invoice straight into your software. So in order to get set up for e-invoicing, some little things that you might want to consider is just making sure your organisation settings are up to date and that your ABN is correct and in the right field under organisation settings in any of your accounting software. Ensuring that the ABN of your supplier is in fact in their contact records or their customer supplier records, whichever, depending on which software that you use, just making sure that you have their name, address and their ABN sitting in there. That's how e-invoicing will recognise a business is by their ABN. It's something that you register for. So depending on which software you use, there might be direct links within your software to be able to register. I know definitely Xero is one of those where you can hop into your bills to pay screen and you can be prompted to register for e-invoicing. So on that, in Xero, you would go to the accounting tab, the bills to pay. You can then hit on the button that says receive e-invoices and register to receive e-invoices. You then verify the business information and enter some contact details and complete the registration. You can look up who else is registered for e-invoicing to ensure that whoever you're sending invoices to is registered. And if you register, then you'll be on that list too, and you can receive bills from your suppliers direct into your accounting package. For example, with Xero, it would be sent straight to your draft bills where you can review and approve. Again, it's something we'll go into detail. We'll probably do a separate video just on e-invoicing and how it all looks and works specifically from Xero. But look, if this is something that you're interested in or that's something that you've been approached by your suppliers to register for, please get in touch with your relationship manager or myself at MB+M, and we can certainly help you out in that space. Single touch payroll phase 2. So we've all seen the implementation of single touch payroll. We all should be up and running with that and filing our payroll before or when we pay our employees, and it sends off data to the ATO such as your gross wages, your superannuation and the tax withheld. Phase 2 is, broadens what you need to be telling the tax office from within your accounting software. Now, all the accounting softwares are certainly on top of single touch payroll phase 2 requirements and what they need to do from within their software to get everything up and running for you. You shouldn't see a whole lot of change or any major things that you'll need to do, but certainly if you can remember when they brought in the reporting of allowances and say, for example, JobKeeper, and making sure that you actually had that allowance assigned to the correct type of allowance. It'll be a similar scenario for single touch payroll phase 2. So just so that you're aware, it was originally due for implementation by the 1st of January 2022. That has been extended by the ATO until the 31st of March 2022. If you are a Xero user, you do your payroll through Xero. They have an automatic deferral until the 31st of December 2022 on your behalf. So if you are using Xero to lodge your payroll, you've essentially got about 12 months to get it up and sorted. If you are a Xero user, you will already have started seeing some changes in your payroll file. And this is all part and parcel of getting this stuff set up gradually. So I know certainly if you've had to make a lump sum e-payment, you'll notice certain differences around what you need to tell the software when you're doing the processing of that payment. And also when you terminate an employee right now, you need to give a reason. That's also part of single touch payroll phase 2 requirements. So a couple of things there. There won't be a requirement to submit a tax file number declaration anymore, and not even file direct from your software if that's an ability to be able to do. Single touch payroll phase 2 will include end dates and start dates for your employees and the basis on which they're employed. So whether it be casual or full-time, they'll all be assigned codes, and it'll be something that you'll need to select when you're taking on or terminating an employee. It also involves the splitting of the income details that are submitted to the ATO. So instead of everything being reported as gross wages and then allowances, there will be specific splits such as bonuses and commissions will be reported separately, all of your allowances, and they might drill down even further depending on what allowance you're paying your employee. Directors' fees will be required to be reported separately outside of gross earnings. Salary sacrificed amounts other than super will be required to be reported, and paid leave also is a separate item. You shouldn't see too many changes in your Xero file because you usually process these separately as it is, and Xero will take care of all the back end stuff that needs to go to the tax office. So we're hoping it'll just be a smooth transition over the next 12 months, especially for Xero users. Lump sum e-payments, if you've ever had to back pay an employee for underpaid wages, for example, that were older than 12 months, and you needed to report them, calculate the tax withheld differently, and then send them a letter with what years or what financial years each back pay payment relates to, that's no longer. So that'll happen all automatically for you when you're processing your payroll. And the termination reason, so you will have seen this already now if you're a Xero user, but you need to tell the tax office the reason for termination, whether it's voluntary, redundancy, etc. And that will abolish the need to have to provide separation certificates to your employees. So that's a little win. All of these things, while they might be a little tedious to set up and get going, they will make your life easier in the future. Honestly, the transparency with the tax office is one thing, but being able just to do this as on the fly as you're doing the processing and then not have to give it another thought, I think becomes really efficient, and you'll love it going forward. As the time gets closer, we'll do some more in-depth videos on this, and even one relevant just to our Xero users with how it's affecting you and what you need to be doing in your file as we go along. So we'll be on top of it. Certainly if you've got any questions in the meantime, sing out, get in touch. Our contact details will be on the last slide. Superannuation stapling. This is something that has come in as at November 2021, so from today. You shouldn't see too much of any sort of compliance requirements right this minute, but just to give you an overview, superannuation stapling involves It will give employees the ability to compare key data of your super, your current super accounts. It's increasing the duties of trustees to act in the best financial interests of their members. There's legislation outlining all of this if you would to need it. And superannuation underperformance assessments by APRA as well. That is a fairly complex area that our super team is all on top of. But mainly what I wanted to touch on from today is that if you have a new employee starting with you and they don't have a super fund of choice, they just say, oh, I'm not sure, just set me up with whatever. Sometimes you just go to a generic super fund, one that you use all the time, and you would set them up a membership and pay into that. If you think about an employee that might have 6 jobs in 4 years, they could end up with many super funds, and you know what it's like yourself when you're doing a check of your super or whatnot, and you think, oh, I don't know what funds I've got where. This will really reduce that headache, if you like, and it'll bring it all together. So when you do have a new employee starting, if they don't give you super fund details, you just need to request the details from the ATO. So you don't have to go and set your employee up with a new membership at a fund. You simply lodge with the ATO a request for information, and they will give you the details of the fund that you need to be depositing or contributing into for your super guarantee. So look, it is a bit of a complex subject there, but certainly if you've got any questions or have any advice, or you just want to talk it through, please don't hesitate again to get in touch. It's quite a big topic. That's all I really had for you today. I just wanted to briefly discuss each of those things. As I said, you'll be hearing the terms or seeing them thrown around quite a bit, and might have been sitting there wondering what you needed to do. So by any means, if you've got any issues, if you've got any questions, my contact details are on the screen there. Give the office a call or talk to your relationship manager. It's been great to catch up again, and we will see you again in the very near future. Thanks for listening.